We've reviewed TCL's new QM6K and QM7K TVs, and they're both solid entries in TCL's 2025 lineup. But if you're shopping for both of them, which one is the best option? Hey, I'm Nicholas from Rtings.com, and I'll walk you through it. You won't be surprised by our conclusion, but simply, what's your budget like, and how much are you willing to spend? We won't beat around the bush. These TVs are not in the same market segment, and they really don't perform the same. Case in point, their HDR brightness. The brightness on the QM6K is mediocre. It struggles with displaying bright highlights with any real impact, although the TV's contrast is good enough to still provide a good HDR experience. More on that soon. The QM7K, however, is much brighter. Not incredibly bright, but next to the QM6K, it's almost night and day. The QM7K's black levels really help it to provide a very strong HDR viewing experience, as its contrast is absolutely fantastic. It really sets it apart from the QM6K, even if that TV also has impressive contrast, especially for what is otherwise a budget model. Last year's TCL Q6 didn't even have local dimming. Still, the QM7K has the clear edge here. If you're worried about HDR brightness accuracy, don't be. Both TVs are very accurate here, although the QM7K is a bit more so, even if it's rather inconsistent in how it follows the curve. And how about HDR color volume? Well, it really depends on two things: HDR brightness and contrast. It's no surprise then that the QM7K is far more colorful in HDR than the QM6K, as it's brighter and has much deeper contrast. Dark colors do look good on the QM6K, but it struggles with displaying any bright colors due to its relatively low HDR brightness. The QM7K, not so much, although it does struggle a bit with bright magentas. Fortunately for the QM6K, its pre-calibration accuracy in HDR is better than the QM7K's subpar accuracy. For the QM7K, blues are overrepresented in mid-grays and above, making the TV's color temperature very cold. The QM6K is noticeably better here, as its color temperature is almost exactly on target. Ultimately, the QM7K does provide the more impressive visual experience, but the QM6K is much more accurate out of the box, which is something to consider if you care about color accuracy. Post-calibration, the QM7K's accuracy is a bit better, with the white balance now decent, although it still has some accuracy errors in mid-grays and many colors are still off target. In SDR, surprise! The QM7K is brighter. Okay, that wasn't a surprise. The QM6K is bright enough to overcome some glare in brighter rooms, but the QM7K crushes that glare. To make matters worse, the already much brighter QM7K also has much better reflection handling. While it's not the best TV ever at dealing with direct light sources, it does lessen their intensity somewhat. The QM6K barely does, making those reflections very noticeable in darker scenes. Plus, the QM7K is much better at dealing with ambient light than the QM6K. Ultimately, you'll want to stick with dimmer rooms with only a few indirect lights on when using the QM6K, while the QM7K is far more versatile. As for colors in SDR, the color range isn't as demanding as HDR, so the brightness advantage on the QM7K isn't as big. Still, it's noticeably more colorful than the QM6K. And here we have a Uno reverse situation, as it's the QM7K that ends up being a bit more accurate than the QM6K in SDR content. It's close though, but the QM6K's mediocre white balance really lets it down. The QM7K's main issue here is its gamma, which is way brighter than the 2.2 target. When it comes to processing, the QM7K has the edge, though not by much. Its most noticeable advantage is in smoothing low quality content, as it removes noticeably more macro blocking in low bitrate material than the QM6K does. It's tighter when it comes to upscaling, but the QM7K is still better. Low resolutions look a bit sharper here, even if neither TV truly excels in that area. And guess what? The QM7K is better at gradients too, though again, not by much. The QM7K shows noticeable banding in dark grays and reds, as well as in brighter greens. The QM6K, for its part, has noticeable banding in all grays and greens, as well as in darker reds. If you're a gamer, both of these TVs are fantastic. There's little difference between them when it comes to features, which is impressive considering the QM6K's lower cost. The QM7K does have slightly quicker pixel transitions at 144Hz, and it's also quicker at 60Hz, but it's not a huge difference. Both TVs can do 1080p at 288Hz with a wide VRR range and very low input lag. Ultimately, the main difference for gamers is simply that the QM7K is the brighter and better looking TV of the two in HDR, which will make your games look better. But in terms of actual performance, yeah, they're pretty similar. Besides that, both TVs support Dolby Vision and HDR10+, and they pass through advanced Dolby and DTS audio formats via their eARC ports. Those eARC ports are one of their two HDMI 2.1 ports, leaving the two high-speed HDMI 2.1 ports free, great if you want to connect both a soundbar and a console. So, which one should you buy? It's clear that the TCL QM7K is easily the better TV of the two. The TCL QM6K is better only in HDR accuracy. If you're shopping for the best product, get the QM7K. If you really care about HDR accuracy, you could always have the TV calibrated. Done. Unfortunately, it's not that simple. The QM6K is notably cheaper than the QM7K. That makes it hard to tell you which TV you should buy. There are market segments for a reason, as everyone wants something different with different budgets. We'll say this, most people are likely to be very pleased with the TCL QM6K. It has surprisingly impressive contrast at its price point, and it offers a ton of features, enough for almost anyone. If you just want a decent product for a good price, go for the QM6K. It kinda does everything, and it does it well. But if you know what you're looking for, and if your budget allows, the QM7K will definitely offer a much better visual experience. It's brighter with even better contrast. It has slightly faster pixel transitions and slightly better image processing. It's a very good performer. Alternatively, you could opt for last year's TCL QM7, which performs almost as well as the QM7K, but for about the same price as the QM6K. The catch? The QM7 is noticeably less accurate in SDR than either of those TVs, with bad PQ EOTF tracking. It also struggles with reflections, which offsets its brightness advantage. And of course, the big one, it'll be out of stock soon, since it's last year's model. Another option is the Amazon Fire TV Omni Mini LED. It's more expensive than the QM6K, but cheaper than the QM7K, and yet it performs very well. It's brighter than the QM7K and has better contrast than the QM6K, with less blooming than either TV. The catch? The Amazon TV isn't as colorful as the QM7K, and it can do 288Hz. It also uses Amazon's Fire TV OS, which some may see as a con. Overall though, it's a really good TV for the price and can act as a middle ground between the QM6K and the QM7K. That's all for our comparison between the TCL QM6K and QM7K. Do you think the QM7K is worth the extra cost? Or would you rather save money and go with the cheaper QM6K? Let us know. Until next time, I'm Nicholas from Rtings.com, where we help you find the best product for your needs. Ciao. You won't be surprised by our conclusion. I said that weird. You won't be surprised by our conclusion. You won't be surprised by our why is our conclusion so hard to say? You won't be surprised by our conclusion.